Hello everyone, welcome to Reddit Taletales here. Today we've got some Am I the Asshole stories for you all to listen to. So if you all just get nice and relaxed, sit back, relax and get ready. And am I the asshole for refusing to talk to my mum after she gave my stepsister my wedding fund? My stepsister was going to get married this summer, but due to the COVID, she had to postpone. Unfortunately, she ended up losing a lot of her deposits, and now her budget is less than half of what it used to be. She also has to buy a new dress/bridesmaid's outfit because she now decided to have a winter wedding instead. I am also engaged, but we're still in the early stages of planning and recently decided to figure out how our potential budget would look like. My mom and stepdad have saved wedding funds for each of us, which are $10,000 each. This money we've always known we'd receive for our weddings, and my siblings have already all received theirs. I was FaceTiming my mum and she asked me about the wedding plans, and I mentioned that my fiance and I had opened a separate bank account for our wedding funds. I asked her if she could directly transfer the wedding funds into it when she was free, and she started acting weird and avoided the question and changed the subject. I got upset and asked her again, and she told me that they couldn't help with the wedding. I asked her what she meant, and she admitted my stepdad had given the money to my stepsister. I asked her why he would do that, and she mentioned how my stepsister had lost so much of her original budget due to the pandemic, and she would have to dramatically downsize her wedding. She came to them and begged to have my wedding fund, and my stepdad agreed, as my stepsister and her fiance both worked low-paying jobs and wouldn't be able to save the money up for themselves in time. Stepdad's justification is that my fiance comes from a filthy rich, his words, family, and that his family could make up the difference for what they would no longer be contributing. Apparently, he made a nasty joke about how my fiance's dad was going to throw money at our wedding anyway, and that maybe they should ask him to pay for stepsisters too. Upset, and so I ended the call. My mum has been calling me non-stop since, and has even asked my other sister to call me and tell me to answer her calls. When I told my sister what happened, she was angry but not surprised because my stepdad has done similar things in the past, e.g. giving part of my college fund to the same stepsister because she wasted her monthly allowance partying. My mum and stepdad have also sent me texts telling me I have no right to be upset over what they choose to do with their money. My stepdad even said that since I'm so pretty, he's glad he's never given me a cent for my wedding. The more I calm down, the more I start to wonder, am I being a childish asshole? It's not like I've booked anything yet, and now we'll have to change plans. My dad also contributed to my sister's wedding, and I'm sure he'll offer to do the same for me. But then the other part of me wonders, if it had been my stepbrother's wedding fund, would my stepdad be so quick to give it to my stepsister? Am I the asshole? No, OP, you're not. I mean, this was a set aside amount of fund for each sibling, and was given to another sibling because they asked for it. What they said is right. What they do with the money is their choice. That is correct. But when something has already been given out to other step siblings and denied to you for just the reason, oh, we gave it to another sibling of yours, it's just a really unfair situation. It's just a really unfair situation, and yeah, you are not the asshole. Am I the asshole for not paying for the pizza I ordered? My wife and I haven't really been comfortable going out to eat in public due to COVID, but we really wanted some specialty pizza last night, so I looked up an Italian place around me so I could order for pickup, and I found this place that had great reviews. Ordered a large pizza and breadsticks that came up to $35. I put a regular t-shirt and sweatpants on to pick it up. When I got to the parking lot, I thought this Italian restaurant/bar looked pretty fancy, even from the outside. There was a big guy standing in front of it, so I was a bit nervous, but what the hell, I'm just here to pick up my food. As I was walking into the restaurant, said guy stopped me and told me, "No sweatpants." I told him I'm just here to pick up my orders. He kept insisting that I come back with better clothes because after 6 PM, dinner hours, there's a dress code. I was pretty upset, so I told him, if you make me leave, I'm not coming back. And he said, "Suit yourself." So I left, told my wife the devastating news and got fast food instead. Fast forward to this morning, the owner of the restaurant called me back. They asked my name and phone number when I ordered, demanding that I come there today to pay them for my order last night. I explained to him what happened, so it doesn't seem like I go around making bogus orders to mess with people. This guy's telling me, "Yes, but you can pick it up now while we don't have the dress code." I asked him if he's going to remake it for me and he said he will, but I'll have to pay for last night's order and the remade order. I told him that's not going to happen and hung up. He kept calling, but I stopped answering. He left a pretty nasty voicemail, but our appetite for pizza being gone, and it's Monday morning, I have other things to be angry about. What do you guys think? And we have some edits down below as well. So, edit 1. Thank you guys for the reassurance. For the ones asking, I'm in Virginia, and in my experience I've always paid when I pick up. Also, I don't have a Yelp account, but I may just make one and leave a review for future pickup customers, as most of you suggested. Edit 2. I went back to their website to see if there was any mention of dress code that I might have missed. Nope. Nowhere did it say it. The website actually makes the restaurant seem like a local pizzeria and not a fancy restaurant. Also, I thought Virginia was already specific enough, but North Chesterfield for those people who are in other areas who are afraid to go pizza shops in sweatpants now. So I would have to side with OP here. He's not the arsehole. He arrived and he was barred at the door and told he wasn't allowed in. That was a choice of the restaurant to not allow a customer in to pick up their order and pay for it. So, not the arsehole. Am I the arsehole for refusing to sell the place I bought with stripper money? For several years I was a stripper. I have no shame about what I did and only quit when I got a better job offer. In the time I worked as a stripper, I intentionally lived as cheaply as possible, shitty little studio flat, living off ramen, wearing old clothes, because my co-workers all told me that they were able to buy their own place on their income so long as they saved like crazy before I retired. I managed to outright buy myself a 3-bedroom flat. I rented out the other rooms for a while, but I got sick of having roommates, so now I have them up online for shorter stays but not to rent. I met this guy about 18 months ago and we've been together since. He knows about my employment history and he said that he has no issue with it, though he did ask me to tell his family the white lie I occasionally use on my CV and stuff, which is that I was a waitress, which is kind of true to be honest. A month ago, we found out that I'm 2 months pregnant. He said this is great news and we should move in together. I assumed he'd be moving into my place because he rents his far smaller 1-bedroom flat while I own mine, and I have a room for a baby's room while he doesn't. Also, I really don't want to leave my flat. It's my flat. I love it. I could see myself living here for the rest of my life, and I don't want to lose the security of owning a flat and have to go back to paying rent or a mortgage each month. However, he then said that he didn't want to move into my place and said that I should sell it and we buy a place together. I said that I like my place. It means a lot to me that I was able to buy it, and it represents years of working my ass off, scrimping and saving. He then said that he understands all that, but we should be living together by the time the baby comes, and he didn't want to live in my flat. I asked him why not. It's a great flat. It's central to everything, it's spacious, it's got room for all his stuff. There's a daycare in the building, owned by another tenant, and a school 5 minutes walk away. The list goes on, and he said that he didn't want to live in a flat that was bought with stripper money. That really pissed me off, and I told him no effing way. am I selling my flat and that he never had an issue with my stripper money paying for this flat before now. I said I wasn't giving up the security of owning a home for someone who tries to make me feel ashamed about something I don't feel ashamed of. He said that his point is if I sold the flat then we could get a new place with the money from the sale. I said, wouldn't that still be stripper money? And he said that's different. And I asked him how. He said he was going back to his place because I can't talk to you when you're in this state. He's gone back to his flat now and he's texted me saying I'm overreacting / irrational and that I need to think of this realistically rather than emotionally. He says he wouldn't feel right raising a child in my flat knowing how I purchased it and selling / moving is the best idea for all of us. Not to mention the fact he isn't on the deed because it's my place and it would never feel like our place because of this. I feel like I might be the arse because I get what he might feel like it's just my place and I feel like I'm being too rigid in a time we need to work together. Plus I spoke to my sister and she sided with him, so 2 out of 3 people think I'm in the wrong here. Am I the asshole? No. Fantastic work, OP. That was amazing that you managed to work your ass off so hard to buy your own place. That is incredible. It's such a milestone for you and that is amazing. And it's fantastic. You got the perfect place to raise a child. He's just wanting to use that money to get a place with his name on it, or there's something going on there. It's not quite right. Like, if he was perfectly fine with it to start with, there should be no difference now. I mean, like you said, it's a perfect location. You're not the asshole here. You've done some fantastic work. Well done. And on to our last story of today. Am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop talking to other people about the trauma I caused her 10 years ago? So for some brief context, when I, 19F, was 9 and my 18, then 8-year-old sister came out as trans, M to F, I copied my parents' behaviour, which was to treat her like she was below us, and my parents even told me to get other kids at school to bully her. I did all this, and so much more, and I am so embarrassed by who I used to be. But by the time I was 13, I realised she was human and my sister, and I couldn't change what I did to hurt her in the past, so I tried to be the most supportive older sister that I could. Starting when I was 13, I started using her correct pronouns and name, and I used my own money to buy her clothes and a wig for school in secret. When she turned 18, my parents kicked her out and said they wouldn't help pay for her college. My girlfriend and I live in an apartment not too far from our high school, so we took her in. At first, things were fine, but then she started telling people about her story and I caused most of her trauma. I didn't mind at first. I often use what I did as a teaching point to many people in the same situation. But then, mutual friends shared between us started to stop talking to me, saying what I did was inexcusable, and it was. But it was 10 years ago, when I was a little girl, and I've matured and I love my sister very dearly now. I asked my sister after this happened a few times if I was still hurting her, and she said no. I'm one of the most supportive people in her life. I asked if the trauma still affected her and how I could help. She said she was fine and just liked to use it as a teaching point. I asked her then to stop telling people about the trauma I caused her outside of me and my girlfriend because people were cutting me off. She told me to grow up and accept the things I did, and she wouldn't stop. I tried saying I could pay for therapy, but she refused and called me an ass for not letting her share her story. It's been a few days and she hasn't talked to me. Am I the asshole for asking my sister to stop telling people about the trauma I caused her? I don't think I am, because I'm trying to help her and I don't want my relationships and reputation to be ruined over something my past self did when I was 9. Thoughts? Oh, that's so horrible. The parents are absolute monsters. They pitted 2 children against each other, told one to bully the other, and what's a child going to do but listen to their parents? You know, children are so receptive to what their parents tell them to do, and they listen to them, and all I can say is fantastic job at 13 to think for yourself, to realise what was going on, to stop that, and to change your ways and separate yourself from your parents. And so lovely of you. And I understand that your sister needs to tell her story, but again, she should be using it as a teaching point against the parents. It's the parents that did this. It's the parents that pitted them against each other, and it's on the parents, and they're at fault here. I think there's something going on that the younger sister needs to be talked about. There needs to be a recollection or something going on there, and to understand who the real monsters were, which were the parents. And that's the situation that should be focused on there. That's all we have time for today, guys. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button and subscribe for more daily videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.